Hello and welcome to Soma Vitality Wellness. As you all know, our name is Sona and she's Mara, and we are naturopathic nutritionists. Now, why we are doing this video, the purpose of this video is to discuss how one can prepare one's body to receive a vaccine and try to minimize certain side effects that vaccine can cause. We've been getting lots of questions about taking vaccine, asking us if they will get any negative side effect or how severe side effects going to be. And how come some people have side effects and others don't? The answer is simple. We need to understand that each one of us is different and our bodies will receive the vaccine injected in a different way. So the question is, can we get you healthier so you can have an appropriate immune response to a vaccine? The answer is absolutely. To understand how our immunity works, what are the factors that affect our immune response, and what we can do to minimize the side effects. There are things we can change and there are things we cannot change. Now, the first type of factors are intrinsic factors. Now, that is the genetic of the person, their age, sex, and if they have any comorbidities. Now, Mara is going to explain what we can do about these, all the factors in detail. Yes, Mara.
Yes, thank you, Sona. So yes, you're right. We have intrinsic factors like genes and age. We cannot change them as such directly, although many of us would like to change their age. So this is something that we cannot do. However, we can influence the genes and our age with different ways. So one thing would be adopting an appropriate diet for different genes and for different age times. A second one would be also to adapt your lifestyle to your genes and your age. So these are a few things that we have in our hands to change if we need to. When it comes to comorbidities as well, we may have 1, 2, or 3 comorbidities altogether that we are dealing with on a daily basis. But by adopting the right diet and the right lifestyle, then we can also influence those. We can lower them down so that our immune response is going to be as stronger as possible when we're getting a jab. So these are things that are under our control. Never forget that.
Yeah. So second factor we talk about is perinatal host factors. Now, this can be your, what time you were born, your gestational age, your birth weight, what were you breastfed or not, how many injections you had, as well as your maternal antibodies, your maternal infections during pregnancy, and what are the other maternal fractures that your mother had while giving birth to you.
Yes, that's right. So really, this is what we call a passive immunity that our mother is passing on to us or to her child when it's born. For many reasons, it happens that this doesn't occur. So it could well be that the mother has to go through an emergency cesarean or potentially doesn't have enough milk to breastfeed. So these are a few ways that basically the mother passes on her immunity to the child. And yeah, so basically the child has to adapt on its own, has to adapt his immunity on its own, in the first few days of birth. I mean, Mrna, we can also say here that we see that very often in clinic, because we see adults come into clinic with issues like skin conditions, frequent colds, frequent flus, And these, if when we're tracing back their history, then we always find out 9 times out of 10 that most of the time they haven't been breastfed, or they have been born through emergency cesarean. So yeah, this
Yeah,
had,
sure.
and I just wanted
Another
to say,
factor that we have is an extrinsic factor. Now, they are how many infections you had as a person. What about parasitic infections? How many antibiotics you had? What is the state of your, microbiota, your gut? And also what is your pre-existing immunity, what at present you have, all these factors. Mara,
yes,
you can
yes,
explain
yes.
further.
I mean, this is all about the gut, isn't it? And, Hippocrates used to say that all diseases start in the gut. It's no wonder, it's very simple, because the gut is our second line of defense. So if our gut is impaired, then obviously, when a pathogen is coming into our body, then it's going to be slower to, protect us, basically. So really, the question here is to understand how many courses of antibiotics we've had over the past 5 to 10 years. Antibiotics are good for many reasons. They help many conditions. The only problem is that they deplete our microbiome. So every time that you're taking a dose of antibiotics, your microbiome depletes progressively. So it is important to make sure that your microbiome is as healthy as possible and as diverse as possible as well. So make sure that you have enough good bacteria so that your immunity is strong enough to counteract a pathogen, or also to, of course, receive a jab.
Yes, another factor when we see people is its behavioral factor. Now these are the factors that we can control. They are the factors like smoking, alcohol consumption, exercise, acute physiological stress, chronic physiological stress, as well as sleep. That plays an important part as well.
Yes, yes, that's right. And then, yes, stress is very, very important. I mean, many people, they make the relationship between stress and immunity very often without even noticing, because they usually would say, oh, I got a cold this week, but that's probably because I'm stressed. So I don't know if you've heard that a few times, Sona, but yes, I have. So it's very interesting, because when you are stressed, when we are in a permanent state of stress, of alert, then every nutrient that the body takes in, then they will route them to keeping the stress as high as possible, keeping our alert mechanism as high as possible. And this depletes all the other systems of the body, and most importantly, the immune system. So that's very important. If you feel that you are stressed before taking a jab, make sure that you're trying to reduce the stress as much as possible, so that you get a proper immune response to the jab. Another thing, as you mentioned, is certainly sleep. Sleep goes in pair with stress. The sleep, a big factor of poor sleep or insomnia is hormonal imbalance. And if your sleep hormones are not at balance, then it's going to cause all sorts of other issues in the hormonal world. So for example, if one hormone is not working properly, it's going to affect all the others as a domino effect. So your body progressively is going to lose its balance, and it's going to have an impact on the immunity system. So again, if you feel that you're not sleeping well enough, try to, change maybe your lifestyle or your diet to improve your sleep and rebalance your hormones. And then, yes, you mentioned smoking and alcohol. So alcohol has a big impact on poor detoxification. So it impacts the lymphatic system, and it causes dehydration in the body. Another thing that it causes is the malabsorption of nutrients. So it's really important that before taking a jab to stop alcohol for a while. So to make sure that our immunity is, strong enough. In the same way, smoking causes issues as well. There have been studies showing that in certain types of vaccines, smokers would adapt less, in a lesser way, and their antibodies would be lower than antibodies that non-smokers would have. So it's really important to take these factors also into consideration before taking a jab and making sure that you're not getting any side effects from it.
Absolutely. Another factor that we can control is, the nutritional factors and the body mass index, nutritional status, like your micronutrient status, like vitamin A, D, E, and zinc, and all these nutrition status has a big impact on on the immune response you get. So as you can explain in detail, Mrna.
Yes, yes. I mean, again, there have been many studies on malnourished children taking some jabs and how they react, how their antibodies response is to those jabs. So, and it's much lower. Their antibodies cannot respond as well as a child who is not malnourished, who is properly nourished. So it's really important. These are, as you say, Sona, these are things that are in our power to change. In the same way, we can also say that very often obesity comes from, is also part of malnourishment in certain instances. So in that case, again, some studies are showing that obesity can potentially lead to a stronger immune response for a short period of time, but within several months, then it's been noted that actually the antibodies are depleted much quicker than a person who doesn't suffer from obesity. So really the key is, make sure that your nutrition is good, you get all the possible nutrients that you can into the body before getting a jab.
Absolutely. Another factor we see is environmental factor. Now, where you live, whether you live in a countryside or in a very busy city, your season, the family, the size of the family has an impact as well. The toxins all around you, in the environment has an effect as well, when we see that as well.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Again, there has been a study showing the differences in how the response is from children getting tetanus jab, whether they're coming from a rural background or from an urban background. So, and this is showing that the children in a rural background have developed a stronger immunity. Now, another thing that has to be mentioned is really what you were saying, Sona, the toxicity. It doesn't mean that if you're living in, the countryside, that you're going to, have, the best of, everything. It's just that if you live in the middle of, many fields, they may be very nice, but if these fields are farmed with pesticides or pollutants, then you're bound to breathe them. So yeah, make sure that that is also taken in consideration. You may also have some detoxification to go through before, getting your jab as well. So these are all factors to take in consideration.
Yeah. Then we have factors like vaccine factors. What type of vaccine is? What are the products in the vaccine? What strains are there in the vaccine? What adjuvants are there? What are the things inside the vaccine? And what are the doses? All these also have an impact on how you react to it.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, obviously, there are so many types of vaccines at the moment around. We know the old ones who have inactivated viruses in them. So, you know, basically, you would get injected an inactivated part of the very small particle of the virus to protect you. You also have others that have a live active particles onto them. So they would be chickenpox, you know, the inactivated ones would be polio, for example. And we also have vaccines that work on toxins as well. So what happens in that case is they would just inject a little small particle of the toxin that actually is causing the human body the problem of this specific pathogen. And this is how we create, you know, we build up our immunity. And obviously, at the moment, we're talking a lot about the new technology vaccines called messenger RNA, so mRNA vaccines. It's been worked on for several years now, and with the pandemic, a few companies, a few pharmaceutical companies have come out with these vaccines for to prevent COVID-19, really. And what do? They
Yes.
yeah, pretty much they basically they have identified this spike protein from the virus, and the messenger RNA that is injected in the body will go into the cell, in the cytoplasm of the cell, and from there it will be able to create this spike protein, which will go then around the cell to build the immunity. So these are the mRNA vaccines that are, you know, at the moment out in the market for COVID-19. Another one is probably the viral vector vaccine as well. Just wanted to mention that one as well, because one or more of these pharmaceutical companies have also come up with those vaccines for COVID-19. And these are pretty much just taking a different virus and trying to make the immunity out of that. And that is called adenovirus. So that's the one. So really, there is a multitude of vaccines. Now, every vaccine has different ingredients or adjuvants. These ingredients and adjuvants are there to protect the vaccine. So when it's injected into the body, the first reaction of the body will be to counteract it, to, you know, to go against it. And it will just disappear, you know, and it won't do anything good to our body. Then it's just going to disappear, and it's not going to build our immunity. But with the protection that they put in place around that, with those ingredients, then they'll be sure that this vaccine will come alongside our immunity and strengthen it.
Absolutely. Another factor we can think about is administrative factors. You know, what is the schedule of the, you know, what time you get it as well, as we know we have. Then what is the size of the needle, the time of the day? Is there any other drug or vaccine that is co-administered with the vaccine? This all has an impact as well.
Yes, it has a big impact, and you know, not many people know about it. But if you think about it, when you wake up in the morning, you're feeling good, fresh. Supposedly, you had a good night of sleep. Basically, your cortisol levels are high, so they help you to get going, to, you know, start your day. And this is where your immune response is going to be the strongest one. As opposed to the evening when you're starting to, you know, get tired and wanting to go to bed. So really, if we can give you a piece of advice, is if you want to be able to, you know, to take a vaccine, you may want to do it in the morning where your immune response is the strongest, and you may get less side effects from that as well.
Yeah. So let's do some, you know, in conclusion, the summary of it, of some of the things that we have discussed today and what you can do before getting a vaccine to possibly avoid certain side effects. Now, the things that you have to tell is, first of all, list the medications that you are on, or make sure that there's no contradiction with the vaccines that you're going to take. Another important factor is that make sure that the doctor or nurse is aware of the medications and any condition you have, like autoimmunity, cardiovascular. If you think that you will forget, make sure you make a list of it. Now, the third thing is that make sure you tell them if you're pregnant, breastfeeding, or trying to get pregnant. Now, the things we can do before we get the vaccine is to have a well-balanced diet with all the nutrients and probiotics in your food, so you have good gut health and good array of phytonutrients and antioxidants in your diet. Another thing you can do is stop smoking and reduce it to a minimum before you go and take the vaccine. Stop your alcohol consumption, another very important. You reduce stress through different techniques. A balanced diet followed for a little longer time, that helps in reducing stress. Now you can introduce breathing techniques and light exercise. Now, very important factor to mention here, that don't do very extraneous exercise because it'll not help. It'll only contribute to increase the free radicals and push your cortisols, which can have a negative effect on when you go to have vaccine. Now, the lastly we can do is try to book a morning appointment, isn't it? So these are the summary, what we have, the whole today we have discussed about what we all can do today.
Yes, that's right. We have many things that can be done. And yes, we understand that they can be very daunting as well. In many cases, you may not know how to start, where to start from, what to do. So really, we have created a program that it's called the preparation, actually, prevention to side effects, but preparation to the vaccine program, and it consists in a personalized nutritional plan with a personalized lifestyle changes if required. It contains 3 consultations and also a test that can be done at home. It's non-invasive and it will be personalized to you. Mainly, it will probably be a vitamin or mineral test. So you can do it in your house with, no issues. It's going to be very quick. And we are going to follow you throughout the journey to preparation to get the jab, so you don't have so many side effects coming from there. Now, if you want to know more about the program in more details, you can book a free 30 minutes consultation with us, where we're going to go through your personal case and we'll just give you the information at the end of it. So we are going to put the link to our free 30 minutes consultation booking at the end of this video. It's going to be under the video, I believe, Mrna. And yes, that's pretty much it. That's how we're going to help you. And if you're not sure, if you just want to have a chat with us, please do that as well. Yeah, we can help you in many ways.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you very much
For watching the video.
Yes, absolutely. See you soon.